Kelly, please. Something wrong with that boy, man. He needs some serious help, man. We ain't listen to no R. Kelly up in here.
Hold on, Ricky. Don't start talking about R. Kelly.
I saw the tape. Y'all see the tape?
That's what I said.
This boy gonna say it ain't him.
Can't believe everything. You know how the media likes to spin stuff.
Girl, you know that was him.
You don't know?
I think he was set up.
Oh, now you set up now. He set up the camera. You just couldn't tell it was him. He had his hand so far that girl behind, you thought it was Groundhog Day. You know what? It ain't just him. Michael Jackson. His problem, he got a fast wheel. How you gonna be a pedophile with a fast wheel? That's trouble. There's Kobe Bryant. Everybody thought he was good at two shoes. Come look out, he ain't have on no shoes. He just out there, he didn't have on no socks. And then Luther Vandross.
Hey, you ain't going too goddamn far now. Don't talk about Luther Vandross, okay?
Yeah, man. Luther's sick, man.
Have you talked about Luther Vandross?
No.
Wait a minute, everybody in here saying I can't talk about Luther Vandross.
No.
Can't talk about Luther Vandross?
No.
What you gonna do about it then?
What's going on, ladies and gents? It's Cyberland. Coming back to you with another film review. This time we're going with Barbershop 2, Back in Business. Now, I'm trying to think. When did this come out? Was it right away 2004? 2004? Came out in 2004, but what was the month? Oh, okay. So, I know I saw this with a couple fellas, and I think it was the premiere, or a couple days after. But I remember, I think I saw it the weekend of it when it came out. And Barbershop 2 was the thing about Barbershop 2 was we got over the hurdles of Barbershop 1. I think with Barbershop 2 it was more just giving a little more, it was more of a backstory, giving more of a backstory. One to studies the entertainer's character, as well as moving things forward with other characters, having them kind of mature to a little bit, and then having some of them not so much, and they need to work on some of their mannerisms. And I think that's really what the purpose of Barbershop 2 was, to more so develop characters. And the main theme of the film also was to show to businesses, especially privately owned, like entrepreneurs, how much money is enough, and what are you willing to forsake for money. And that was one of the biggest things about the film overall, the point of this film. And I thought that was really good to project, because that is something that all of us have to consider. When you're not working for somebody, you're working for yourself, how much money is enough, and what are you willing to compromise for money, and what are your principles? And I think that was really, I mean, when I first saw it, I was like, oh, okay. But again, now being an entrepreneur and having my own business, I see that that's important, you know, and you can take a lot from this film with that. So the film is really about conglomerates are trying to come in and buy up all the properties, and pretty much what they're going to do is almost like a gentrification where they're going to tear down all the places they buy, and then they're going to reinvest. But of course, when they reinvest, they're going to price out everybody else in the neighborhood, and that's pretty much what the film was about. And we see that that's happening. We also see that, hey, just, life, art imitates life kind of thing, or life imitates art. That this politician that's in the film, that's not really that big of it in the film, but we see that he's a crook, and Sean Patrick Thomas, who's in the film, but he's not a barber during this film, he's kind of left. We kind of see that as much as he's talked about trying to be in politics and all this stuff he's done in the first film, he's starting to see what it says in the book is one thing, but what real life says is an entirely different situation. And I think during the course of the film, for him, he grows up a little bit with that. He starts to realize that, hey, it's not so black and white as much as I would like it to be, and that the people that I think are the crooks, per se, is not always the case. So I think that was good for him. Ice Cube, more so, I felt his character was just really trying to really just stay afloat and maintain what he now realizes is worth fighting for. And then Cedric the Entertainer's character, Eddie, we get more of a backstory to why it is that he never has to pay rent, and why he's been there so long, and what really happened with him with that. So I thought that was really well written how they did that. Not so much how he first came to the barbershop, but why he doesn't have to pay rent. I thought that was probably one of the good highlights of this film, and overall the barbershop films in general. I felt that when they put that in there, they did a great job. As far as Terry goes, I don't think the time frame between the first two and the second are that long apart. Maybe a year, maybe 6 months to a year. I don't think any further than that. Or maybe, I don't know. It's just hard to say, because some characters you could say, oh, it's been a while, but with Terry, you kind of felt like, was her mannerisms changing? Has it been 6 months? Has it been a year? Like, where's the timeline between how she's presenting herself? And then Dinka is still trying to holler at her, but I think finally Michael Ealy's character's telling him, like, hey man, this she's not for you. She's just not that one for you. And I liked how they projected that, and they kind of closed his story with her in a good way, to be like, hey, there's always other fishes in the sea kind of thing, and I felt that was good, not just leave him hanging dry. Michael Ealy's character, I liked about him is that he's progressed tremendously since the first film, and you see more about him. And then, of course, we have, Isaac. Isaac, unfortunately, kind of turned into a pompous a-hole, so he's kind of got a little bit beside himself. So we've seen him, most of first film he's trying to be great and trying to get noticed. In the second film, his attitude is like, well, I'm the shit and I'm the best and all this stuff. But it's like, yeah, but that's not what this is about. It's like, just because you've been doing well doesn't mean you need to start acting a certain way. You should be humble. And I think, it was good that they showed that, because that does happen to a lot of people. You're struggling, and then once you start making it, you start kind of feeling yourself a little too much. Instead of being humbled about your blessings, you kind of just have this attitude that, you can just throw it around with people or throw it in other people's face. And it's just like, that's not, when you get blessed, that's not how you go about it. You should be helping other people or teaching other people to do as well as you did. Or anyway, you can give back to others, I think. And I felt like Isaac really wasn't on that. So, as far as a villain, there wasn't a villain per se. I think the villain was just reality, just what happens with neighborhoods when corporations try to come in and buy a property. I think that's something that happens all over the United States. So I don't feel the villain was per se this person or that person. Even the first film wasn't really. I mean, Lester Wallace was kind of not the greatest, but he wasn't really the villain. It was more so the mindset of Ice Cube in the first one was more so the villain. His actions was more of that. And the second film was kind of the same thing. The second film was more so economic factors, was more so the oppression or the villain of the film per se, because it wasn't it's this person, but you see that there's other people that are conspiring with that situation, where it doesn't make them the villain, but it also doesn't make them the main villain. It just makes them kind of like a secondary villain to, like a secondary antagonist kind of thing. It kind of gave that vibe. Jokes wise, just as funny as the first one to me. I liked elements of the second one better than the first, but I still think the first one was better than the second. That makes sense. Rating wise, I would give it 4.5 out of 5. I would have given it 5, but I think maybe, I don't know. It just, maybe there was a little too many characters going on, and I think not having Sean Patrick Thomas in the film as much kind of, I wouldn't say hurt the film, but it was a little disconcerting, I guess you could say. Yeah, I think if he had been more in it, maybe, but he also wasn't the same person. I mean, his barber ended up being Isaac, so yeah. I just think the first one was better. So with that being said, I will catch you guys on the next one.